I believe we are live, Yvonne.
I think we are, Evie, for the second time today.
People cannot stop us from being live on LinkedIn, is it?
Oh my
Love it
goodness.
so much.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So if you happen to have tuned in earlier, we kind of came on early. We were figuring out some new software and having fun and games with that. And of course, we ended up going live with stuff we didn't really want to go live with, which was us figuring out the technology. So we start again, and we welcome you to this week's myth busting, where we're looking at the comparison trap. So first of all, Evie, great to be with you as always.
You too, Yvonne. I'm just laughing because maybe a year ago I would be like trying to hide under the table after what happened today, but I love it today.
Yes,
Bring
this
on
is what
the
we
challenges.
keeping it real, keeping it real. This is what happens. We are not tech geniuses. This is not our game. So we just figure stuff out as we go, and sometimes there are blips. And that was definitely one of them. But hey ho, it's all good. It's all good.
Absolutely. And I mean, because we are trying something new, you're not going to see our intro like that you are used to or outro for this week. We'll try and at least do the outro next week, one step at a time. Yeah.
Indeed.
But the core thing and the reasons we're here are exactly the same. So you're not going to miss out on that thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, myth busting this week, we are going to be looking at the comparison trap, which is a fascinating one. And I'm sure that the vast majority of people will have experienced this in some shape or form, not necessarily based on the two phrases that we're going to use. But I think we all know when we've been caught comparing ourselves to somebody else for whatever reason. And the first phrase that we're going to look at this week is she's doing it better than me. Now, yeah.
And we could actually say that for anyone that's doing lives at the moment. But we're not.
Yeah, we could say that. We're having fun.
Way.
Absolutely. So this has got to be, again, one of those really easy traps to fall into, in that, if there's somebody doing something the same as us, be it coaching, be it lives, be it writing a book, whatever that thing is, when you see somebody, and I'm going to say getting ahead, but I'm going to come back to that, getting ahead, it's really easy to then start feeling like, oh my gosh, she's progressing faster than me. Look how further along she's got. Look at the size of her audience, da, 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 da. And you just start building up this image of somebody who is like running the race at 100 miles an hour, and you're like on your belly and you're barely moving. That's the image that you start to create. But I think let's just kind of dial it back. And I think there's a few things here, because in my experience, when I've fallen into that trap, and thank goodness for Sage, because that just snaps me back to reality now. But prior to Sage, what happens is that you start to feel like you're not enough. Everything starts to come up. I'm not good enough. Why am I even doing this? How can somebody have been doing this for less time than me and progress that much more? And da 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 da. And you just keep on adding more layers onto it, to the point where you just, why am I even bothering? What's the point? I clearly haven't got what it takes. And if you ever want to rid yourself of a grain of confidence, this is how you do it. This is how you do it, with the constant comparing. Yeah, and it's incredibly unhealthy. Evie, your take, your experience?
Well, I want to just move it to anyone and not just coaches or solopreneurs or whatever that, you know, like this is relevant to us, but I have seen that with clients when it comes to any type of achievement that they want to you know to get, and how easy it is to just compare. And men do it as well, but I think women, for some reason, like it's sort of like so in us, the way that like I don't know if you have ever been in a room and you start looking around, saying who is you know, like dressed in a certain way, who is looking a certain way, who is taller, shorter, you know, fatter, thinner, whatever, and you start comparing yourself, and it is like all these external things and also internally that, and straight away it puts you in that sense, as you said, of like confidence deficit, because there is no one like you and there is no reason to compare. That's the truth. But we all fall into this trap, and it's like I think the only way to get out of it is, first of all, okay, not to compare, but also look at all the achievements that you have had and how you got there, because that's what we forget, you know, when we are truly remarkable at something, we just take that little bit and we forget all the effort we have put in it, all the things that we needed to do to get there. And I think when we arrive, that's the point when we stop comparing, because we know that there isn't like everything that we see. If there was like a very nice thing, it's like you see the real of somebody's life, but not their full life when it comes to the media or to you know, any thing that when you tend to compare, you compare the good things, right? You don't compare but this is it. That's all you compare. You compare the arrival of somewhere that you want to be, rather than all the work that you have done or they have done to get there. And usually that really does not help.
Yeah, totally. And I think, going back to what I was saying, you know, when I was saying that we get kind of caught up about somebody getting ahead, or they're just getting more done, you don't know from what platform they have started. One, you don't know you know, who's supporting them. Two, and actually more important than that, there is no one speed. There is no one speed at which we have to do anything. And what's important is to understand, well, what is my speed? How is this playing out for me? What is the speed that I need to move at to get to where I'm going? And that may not be on 100 miles an hour. It may need to be on 10 miles an hour for a whole plethora of reasons, whether there are other things happening in your life, whether, you know, you are doing it with zero support, whatever the thing is, there is no one speed to get to anywhere. And so when we take that out, she's doing it better than me. Based on what? Based on what?
That is a very good question, because it goes back to like, is it true? That we always say. That's a big question to ask when it comes to myths. But also, what is success? And you know, how do we measure it? That is important as well, because sometimes we just perceive success as what other people think of success, and we forget to ask ourselves, what does that mean for us? What does that look like for us? And when you start doing that, when you're coming back to what you think of success, then you realize that the time it has taken you to do whatever you want to do, or, to get whatever you want to get, is the right time.
Indeed. Indeed.
So,
I had a conversation recently with a friend, and she was saying, and I'm not going to go into any great details, but she was saying, oh, there's somebody who she has been kind of following on socials. She said, we do very similar things. And her words were, so it wasn't she's doing better. She's going, oh my gosh, she just gets so much done. I feel like I'm like kind of like on a back foot with it all. And we had a conversation around that. So I was saying, well, again, you don't know from what platform she started. You don't know where she was when she started it, in terms of support, in terms of her backstory and what's gone on before. And more importantly, she's her and you're you. And that for me is the other part that we need to remember. We are individuals, we are unique. What we bring to the table, whilst it may look similar, we may have similar titles, we may be trying to achieve similar things or whatever that is, but how we deliver it will be different, because it will be you, me, the other person delivering it. And
absolutely.
so what is the point of comparing? What is the point? Because however brilliantly the other person is delivering that thing or doing that thing, does that stop you from doing it brilliantly? Absolutely.
No, because you are different than that person. And if only one person was supposed to do the one thing, then I mean, we would have only, I don't know, one coach in the world, one teacher, one whatever. It's not working like this. And I think that it is important not to let any of these things become your excuse as well, not to move forward, not to do the thing you want to do, because there is a reason why you want to do something, and potentially there are some people that are waiting for you to do that something for them.
Yes.
So yeah, to me, always this type of myths sort of like go back to perfectionism and how you're stopping yourself from doing whatever it is you want to do, so finding an excuse to stay within your comfort zone. Because again, if you just keep comparing, all you will do is just keep yourself small, keep yourself in that comfort zone, and there is no development in there, no growth. So
absolutely. And we know, like the judge loves those kind of situations. Our inner judge, what's the point? What are you bothering for? You're never ever going to get to that place. So we know that there's this inner dialogue that is going to be confirming our ability to compare, right? So not only are we comparing, we're now literally energizing the judge to come in and put more layers on top of that. And again, that can be soul destroying over a period of time. And that's probably why so many people end up not fulfilling the dream or the things that they really want to do, because it is, what's the point? Somebody else has already done it, somebody's doing it better than me, da 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 da, and watering down their own efforts. And like you said at the beginning, Evie, not counting every single step they themselves have taken. Your success is not based on others' journeys. It's based on your journey. It's based on your
100%.
journey. So you just stick your journey at your pace and let it unfold.
Oh, this is really, really profound. That is the way it should be, and hopefully, somebody that needs to hear that today, they will. So the next phrase that we are talking about today is "I'll never catch up," And that is, again, it has to do with time, but also it has to do with catching up with the next person that is doing things so brilliantly, and has all this knowledge and has all this support and has all these results and so on and so forth. But again, what does that mean? And is it true?
Yeah. And again, you know, and I'll never catch up, as if time is suddenly going to run out. And I this relationship that we have with time is something that we all perhaps need to pause and just take a look at, because time is fluid. We don't There is no control. We work in 24-hour shifts because somebody decided we've got 24 hours a day to work with. But time is fluid. It's ongoing. So if we can take our minds off of the 24-hour clock thing, and actually not think, oh my gosh, another year's gone and I still haven't done X, Y, and Z, and actually just be fluid with the time that we have and utilize that, how much better would it be? And I say that from someone who's just had a birthday that is some way over the 50 mark now. It would be so easy to think, I'm running out of time, I'm running out of time. I could have been 25 and run out of time. I could have been 60 and run out of time. I don't know what that time is. However, if I focus on what I can do in this moment, and this is about staying present, that's the bit that matters. But what can I do now? What can I do in this moment? And is it aligned? And does it truly matter? And is it going to get me to where I hope to end up, or you know, where I'm focused on ending up? That to me is important.
No, of course. And what I don't understand, sometimes there is this, like this relationship that we have with time, of course. And I think a lot of the ideas about running out of time is because of the programming that we have. But I have seen women and men in their 80s, and they're still like dreaming big, they're still moving forward, they are like producing really valuable work, because that is the time for them to do it. And they never stop to ask, oh, what am I doing? I might be like, ending anytime soon. And that's how that you do work. That's how you are really valuable for whoever is there to receive this value. And it doesn't matter where you are in your birthday times.
Yes. Yes.
And I really admire people like this, because it's sort of like they become an inspiration just from that. But also it gives you that understanding that up until the moment that I leave this earth, I am alive. And I have been here to create. And if I am here to create, then, I'll be creating till the time that I'm not going to be here anymore. Maybe somewhere else, but hey,
yes.
You never know.
Yes.
So that is, like, I think every time that I feel that, because we've had that before. I definitely had it. I don't know about you, Yvonne, but like, being in your 50s is like, oh, what's going on now? Rush, because
yes,
we're running out of time. Other people are getting this fabulous information in their 30s, in their 20s, and oh, look how much more time they have ahead of them. What does that even mean? Yeah. There is no better moment than now, anyway, yeah, to start or to do whatever it is that you want to do. And I think that is the point when I realized that I completely stopped comparing anything and everything, to be honest with you, not just work, but anything. Because you don't know. I think I have mentioned that before, but my aunt was saying that because you never know when you're going to die, you don't know how old you are. So it's better to treat yourself as old as you feel at this moment in time. And that's it. And I love that. I just
Excellent. Excellent. And I do wonder if this, I'll never catch up, if some of that also comes from the education system, when you're at school and you're constantly being told to catch up, you've got to catch up, and you end up hearing it so much that it becomes, I'm constantly on the back, I've got to catch up, I'm meant to catch up. This is what we're told in school, right? To catch up. Oh, you're going to have to do this to catch up, you're going to have to do this to catch up. And it becomes like it's a default message. And so we need to be aware of that. And and I don't even want to say that once upon a time maybe it was important, because quite frankly, I have a whole other conversation to have about the education systems, which I'm not going to do today.
no.
But but again, the external pressure to catch up, as if you've fallen behind, when actually, if you're doing something, if you're moving towards something and you're doing it in a way that feels right and aligned and empowers you, who's to tell you to catch up? Catch up to what and when and for whose benefit? So again, this for me comes into be consistent. Just be consistent. Forget about the catch up. Be consistent in your actions, in your words, in your thoughts, in your belief. That's the stuff that you need to focus on. Catching up with or to somebody else, let it go. Let it go, I think.
100%. I love that. I mean, the only time you're really going to lose out, I think it's when you stop trying.
Yeah.
That's the only time you're going to fail, because you will have stopped trying. So consistency is key for anything in our lives, and that's what keeps us, I don't know, going, right? Even like when it comes to like mental health, to our physical health, to anything that we do, and of course in our work, and what else is there? Like when like, for example, women like over 40, over 50, when they are starting reinventing themselves, that's the time when they need to be consistent with whatever they are doing, and press on, and don't listen to like that voice of, oh, I need to catch up, I don't have time, and all these things that really can cause people just stop and not do anything. And as you said before, the saboteurs are playing a big game there. And we open ourselves up to them so much more when we are buying into this type of myths. Don't you think, Yvonne?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that there's just something about honoring the process and honoring your own pace. And as long as that's feeling good, I mean, literally feeling good in you, there is no catching up to be done. There just isn't. And so tune in as opposed to tuning out and listening to what everything is telling you how it must be, should be, and what you must and must not be doing. And don't forget that consistency compounds. Because for me, it's like we do, I'm always talking about micro, do everything in micro, because micro is manageable. Micro feels easy. Feels easy, right? There's that ease and flow with micro. Do micro, do it consistently, because it compounds. It's not just 1 + 1 + 1. It starts to multiply. And that's where you start to then almost feel like there's these big leaps happening in what you're doing. And they're not. It's a compounding of everything that you've done, which is why when you said, remember everything that you've done, it's so important. Because when you start thinking, oh my gosh, actually, a month ago, I've done 20, 30 things since a month ago, because I did something every single day. How are you not seeing that? How are you not celebrating that?
Oh, that's a key word there.
Yeah.
But I think that's why we don't remember them, because we don't celebrate.
Exactly.
And I believe that if we learn, and that's another micro action, to celebrate our wins, no matter how small they are, we start remembering them. We start you know, making them work for us in our thinking. And it is such a bad thing, okay, like we don't celebrate small wins because it is almost embedded in us that we shouldn't celebrate until the thing that we are aiming at comes to pass. But the thing is that that thing, whatever it is, the big dream, the big goal, might even change on the way.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter, right? But if we celebrate every single win along the way, that is going to keep us motivated, that's going to keep us alive, that's going to potentially help us change that big goal because we realize what means for us or doesn't.
Yeah.
So it is such a strong thing to really give yourself permission to celebrate every small win.
I spent the whole of last week posting about celebrating, not just because it was my birthday, but that probably inspired the conversations. But this sense of joy, being joyful and celebrating things, it's not because you've lost your mind. It's not because, you know, it's because it helps you to notice what you are actually achieving. The little things matter, and they all add to the bigger thing, whatever the bigger thing is. Without all of those little things, the big thing isn't going to appear, right? So you can't say, oh, it only matters when I see that final thing, because every single step that you've taken to there has got you to it. And they must be seen and they must be acknowledged. How you celebrate is completely up to you. I'm somebody who likes to dance around the room, so I do an awful lot of dancing. But that might not be your thing. It may just be, gosh, you know, I decided I wanted to do X, Y, and Z today, and I did it. I'm really happy with that. That's put me in good stead. Doesn't matter how you do it. But for me, this also helps us to break through those myths of you know, I need to catch up, I need pressure that we constantly put on ourselves that just doesn't serve us well. So let's remember to celebrate. And I love that in positive intelligence, this is a really huge piece that we utilize, and the steps that we put in place, so that, and I certainly use it with all of my coaching clients, it's like whether you've celebrated in your lifetime before or not, you're going to be celebrating now that we're working together, because
definitely
it's important. And then, you know, when I start to see them adopting that, you know, the little shine in the eye, and that I've got like something great happened today, and you know, I don't want to brag. I'm like, brag, bring it on.
Exactly.
Do that. Because it matters, and all of these things build our confidence. So if we're building our confidence, then even when the myths are coming through, because they will poke their head through, if we're in a more confident state and place, they have less impact.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And SAIDS always takes over when we are in that state. We understand the importance of us rather than the circumstances, or you know, what we have or haven't done. And to me, like celebration, and it's almost like allowing to reflect as well, because you don't, like when you celebrate, in essence, that's what you do. You go back, you reflect, and you take that a step further. And that's why we also have included it in our community. We always have that moment to celebrate, to reflect among all of us. And there is a strong like feeling, I think it's strength in like listening to other people's celebrations, other people's reflections, and so on and so forth. And sometimes when it's done in a group, I love that, it's like people realize what they have to celebrate, things that they did not think about beforehand. And I think that's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other beautiful thing, as you were saying that came to me when you was talking about doing these things in a group, is guess what? When you're in a group and you start celebrating these little micro steps that each of you are taking, you stop comparing so much and start appreciating what other people are doing and what you're doing. Appreciation is a whole different energy and vibration to comparing. And so when we can make that switch, hey, how good is that?
Yeah, absolutely. And then that brings what you were posting today about joy, because it is like you don't need much. It's not about chasing happiness and chasing, it's just a state. You are in a joyous state when you're celebrating. And that is really important because that also motivates you, that also makes you work towards whatever it is that you want to work towards. So win-win.
100%. Listen, joy for me is a chemistry. It's a chemistry. It's a chemical reaction that we have inside, and we can tap into it anytime we like. And I know that that's not always easy when things aren't going well. That doesn't mean to say that it doesn't exist. It doesn't disappear. It just is a lot tougher because you've got other things on your mind. But joy aside, if I dare even say that, if I dare even say that, comparison, no, let's just knock that on the head. Comparison, just for me, there'll always be someone who you compare yourself to who is further ahead, done more, achieved more, blah, blah, blah. You've got all day long. If you want to go down that route, but that will not serve you. That will just drain you. And you are not here to be drained. You are here to serve. In order to serve, you need to keep your cup full. And you need to do that by doing the micro things that you need to do each day and acknowledging them, seeing them, celebrating them, because that will give you the strength you need to keep going, that consistency.
100%. Yeah.
Awesome.
Fabulous.
We're good.
And I think with that, yes, we covered.
I think we've beaten those two phrases up quite nicely, so I'm happy with that.
Absolutely. And yeah, we've managed to be here in our consistent way.
Yes.
Imperfectly, but consistent.
Absolutely.
Apologies.
Yeah. And so kind of with that, we kind of want to end with kind of what we're all about. We talk about permission to thrive, the community, its importance, because we are dedicated to breaking free from these myths, because we know that when we are in a place where we can make these phrases, these patterns that drive our behaviors, when we can actually make them so small, I mean, they don't disappear, but when we can make them so small that they barely affect us, and even when they do rear their heads, we just know how to deal with them, life changes. The experience of life changes, and your ability to tap into joy and all that stuff is so much easier to do. And so we will keep on showing up. We will keep on having these conversations. We will keep on inviting you to join Permission to Thrive, because the community is going to be amazing. Let me just say.
Absolutely.
And, we are going to be giving you permission to thrive so that you can rewrite your story.
With grace, right? Not grind.
Yeah. That's what we're all about. And with that, we hope you've enjoyed this week. Please, any comments, any thoughts, please post them below. As always, Evie, a joy and a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You too, Yvonne. It's been lovely being here with you, with all the hiccups, and see you next week.
See you next week.